Avoidants are loyal to one thing. They don't care what you do for them. This sounds harsh, but it points to a psychological truth most people misunderstand about avoidant attachment. Avoidant individuals are not loyal to people, effort, sacrifice, or even love in the traditional sense. They are loyal to one thing only, and that thing is emotional self-protection. Everything they do, say, withhold, or withdraw from revolves around preserving their sense of independence and safety. This is why doing more for them almost never brings you closer. This is why your loyalty, patience, and understanding often go unnoticed or unreciprocated. And this is why people feel confused, depleted, and unseen in avoidant relationships. When you first meet an avoidant, they can appear attentive, calm, even deeply interested. They may show affection in subtle ways that feel meaningful because they are selective and restrained. This makes their early interest feel special, earned, and rare. But what you are bonding with is not emotional availability, it is emotional control. Avoidants connect through distance, not closeness. They feel safest when intimacy remains manageable and limited. The moment emotional dependence begins to form, something inside them tightens. This is where most people make a critical mistake. They assume love is built through consistency, care, and effort. They believe that if they show up enough, the avoidant will eventually relax and open. But avoidants do not bond through what you give. They bond through what they do not have to feel. They remain comfortable as long as they are not emotionally required. Once they sense obligation, expectation, or emotional reliance, their loyalty shifts back to self-protection. Avoidants are loyal to emotional autonomy above all else. They are loyal to not needing you. They are loyal to staying unexposed. They are loyal to not being emotionally cornered by intimacy. This does not make them evil, cold, or incapable of love. It makes them wired to associate closeness with loss of self. And that wiring overrides your effort every time. You could listen endlessly to their problems and they will still pull away. You could sacrifice your needs and they will still remain distant. You could love them with consistency and they will still feel pressured. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing too much emotionally. To an avoidant, emotional availability feels like a demand, even when it is offered freely. They interpret closeness as expectation, not connection. So they detach to breathe again. This is why avoidants often seem unaffected by what you do for them. They may appreciate it intellectually, but they do not attach emotionally to it. Gratitude does not equal bonding for an avoidant. Effort does not translate into safety for them. In fact, the more you give, the more they feel indebted. And indebtedness is emotional captivity to an avoidant nervous system. So they withdraw to rebalance power. People often ask why avoidants stay longer with emotionally distant partners. The answer is simple and painful. Distance feels respectful to an avoidant. Silence feels safe. Low emotional demand feels like freedom. They confuse emotional neutrality with compatibility, and they mistake absence of pressure for love. This is also why avoidants may suddenly detach when you become emotionally secure. Your healing threatens their emotional control. When you stop chasing, they feel exposed. When you stop explaining, they feel uncertain. When you stop proving, the dynamic shifts. And avoidants are deeply uncomfortable when they cannot predict or manage emotional proximity. Avoidants are loyal to control, not connection. They need to feel like they can leave at any moment. They need to feel like closeness is optional, not necessary. The moment they feel emotionally relied upon, their system signals danger. So they distance, delay, deflect, or disappear. This is not strategy, it is reflex. Many people confuse avoidant detachment with confidence. But true confidence can tolerate closeness. Avoidant detachment is often fear dressed as independence. It is the fear of being seen too deeply, the fear of being needed, the fear of being responsible for another person's emotional well-being. So they remain loyal to emotional escape routes. This is why confrontations rarely work with avoidance. Explaining your feelings often increases their shutdown. Asking for reassurance often pushes them further away. Requesting clarity feels like pressure to them. They interpret emotional dialogue as loss of autonomy. So instead of leaning in, they pull back. Avoidants are not moved by what you do for them. They are moved by how little they feel required. They feel safest when relationships feel optional. They stay longer when nothing is demanded. They remain present when no emotional debt exists. This is the loyalty they never break. This does not mean avoidants never love. It means they love in a way that prioritizes emotional distance. They care, but from a protected position. They feel, but privately. They miss you, but silently. They attach, but without surrender. This is why they often think about you long after leaving. Distance allows reflection without vulnerability. Absence allows longing without responsibility. They process emotions best when you are not there, which is why no contact often impacts avoidance more than confrontation. The moment you stop trying to prove your worth, something shifts. The moment you stop overfunctioning, the dynamic changes. The moment you stop chasing clarity, they feel the loss. Not because they suddenly value effort, but because the emotional control they relied on disappears. Avoidants are loyal to the version of relationships that lets them stay intact. They will choose emotional safety over emotional depth every time. They will sacrifice intimacy to preserve independence. They will lose connection to avoid vulnerability. And they will walk away from love if it threatens their inner defenses. Understanding this changes everything. You stop trying to earn love through effort. You stop explaining yourself into exhaustion. You stop measuring your worth by their availability. You stop personalizing their distance, and you start reclaiming your emotional energy. The truth is not that avoidants do not care. The truth is that caring is not what guides their behavior. Self-protection does. Autonomy does. Control does. And until that changes within them, nothing you do will ever be enough to reach them emotionally. This is not an invitation to harden yourself. It is an invitation to choose yourself, to stop giving where it is not received, to stop proving where you are already enough, to stop chasing those who cannot meet you. When you understand what avoidants are loyal to, you stop trying to compete with it. You stop asking why your effort did not matter. You stop blaming yourself for their distance. And you finally see the relationship clearly. Avoidants are loyal to one thing. And once you see it, you stop trying to be everything for someone who is loyal to emotional escape. If this message resonated, remember this isn't about blaming avoidance or blaming yourself. It's about clarity, not criticism, and awareness always brings power back to you. You don't need to prove your worth to someone who is loyal to distance. The right connection never asks you to shrink, overgive, or disappear emotionally. So choose relationships where effort is met with presence, not withdrawal. If this helped you see things differently, like, share, and subscribe for deeper insights into attachment, healing, and emotional strength. And most importantly, protect your peace, trust your value, and keep choosing yourself.